This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 4 of our series, The Mystery of Consciousness, Why We Experience Anything. In this episode titled Materialism, Is Consciousness Just Brain Activity? We'll explore the fascinating materialist perspective on consciousness and what it means for our understanding of the mind. So, let's dive in. Right now, the 3 pounds of tissue in your skull are burning through about a fifth of your body's energy just to keep your experience of this moment going. Here's the puzzle. If it's all just brain activity, where does the feeling of being you actually come from? Some philosophers argue materialism is obviously false because no scan of your brain seems to reveal the blueness of blue or the hurt in pain. Yet every time scientists look for where experiences fail to track the brain, they come up empty. Change the chemistry enough, through anesthesia, psychedelics, antidepressants, and your inner world shifts in lockstep. Still, there's a gap. Why should electrochemical signals feel like anything at all instead of unfolding in pure darkness? This is the hard problem of consciousness. Materialists respond by turning the question around. Rather than asking how mere matter could ever think or feel, they ask whether our idea of mere matter is simply too thin. Maybe what we call physical processes already include the seeds of subjectivity, just described from the outside rather than the inside. Neuroscience pushes this debate from armchair speculation into the lab. When surgeons electrically stimulate tiny patches of cortex, people report precise flashes of color, fragments of music, or sudden memories, like pressing oddly specific buttons on awareness. Damage a few cubic millimeters in Broca's area and fluent speech can vanish, while a nearby injury might spare language but erase faces. Under anesthesia, high-frequency brain rhythms fade as reports of experience do. These findings don't settle the hard problem, but they narrow the space where non-physical explanations can comfortably hide. Neuroscientists don't just note that brain states and experiences line up, they try to predict one from the other. One strategy is neural decoding: record activity, then infer what someone is seeing, hearing, or deciding before they report it. In visual experiments, for example, researchers show volunteers thousands of images while scanning their brains. Over time, a machine learning model learns the subtle patterns that distinguish face from house, dog from car. Later, when the person sees a new image, the algorithm can often guess what category it belongs to just from the neural data. In some labs, the reconstructions are now crude but recognizable picture-like outputs. That doesn't prove all of consciousness is captured, but it shows mental content is not a mysterious extra floating free of the brain. It leaves a measurable, decodable signature. The same applies to intentions. In certain decision tasks, activity in motor and frontal regions can reveal which button someone is about to press, sometimes seconds before they say they've chosen. Materialists take this as evidence that conscious choice is tightly integrated with, and possibly arises from, prior neural competition and selection. Critics reply that prediction is not explanation. Knowing where and when doesn't tell us why it feels like something to choose. Contemporary theories try to bridge this. Global workspace theory proposes that a stimulus becomes conscious when it's broadcast across widely separated networks, making it available to memory, verbal report, and planning. Integrated information theory, by contrast, focuses on how much a system's parts constrain one another as a whole. On this view, a highly integrated structure has an intrinsic point of view, and the quantity and quality of that integration map onto the richness of experience. Both approaches stay within a broadly physicalist picture, yet they tweak what physical means. Instead of matter as inert stuff, the emphasis shifts to patterns of organization, communication, and causal structure. That's where some see a possible softening of the intuitive gap. Maybe what we call consciousness is what highly organized biological matter is doing when it reaches a certain level of complexity and interdependence, the way a mature immune system knows self from non-self in a way no single cell does. Consider a patient who suddenly loses the ability to name objects after a tiny stroke, yet can still use them perfectly. They pick up a key, unlock a door, but can't say key. Materialists point out that when we zoom in, we don't find a language soul gone missing. We see damaged links in specific neural networks for word retrieval. Or take split brain cases. When the connection between the hemispheres is severed, two semi-independent streams of awareness can emerge, each with access to different information. That's hard to square with a single, indivisible, non-physical mind, but it fits a picture where you are what a particular large-scale pattern of activity is doing. In clinical practice, neurologists routinely classify states like coma, locked-in syndrome, and minimally conscious states by tracking which networks still coordinate. It's less like flipping a magic on-off switch, and more like tracing which communication lines in a city are still open when the power grid falters. If mind is fully physical, then mental privacy becomes a technical challenge, not a metaphysical right. Future thought leaks might look less like lie detectors and more like unauthorized screen recordings of inner life. Law and medicine would need new norms for consent. Is a court-ordered brain scan like a blood test, or like forcing testimony? Your weekly moods might be tunable the way we now adjust sleep or diet, raising the question, how much editing of the self is still you? If inner life is nothing over and above organized matter, the mystery shifts from what is mind to what can this kind of matter eventually do? Minds built from silicon or gene-edited tissue might cook up values we barely recognize, the way a new cuisine surprises old palates. For now, each thought is a live experiment in what matter can mean. Before next week, ask yourself, 1. When I pay close attention to a vivid experience, like tasting coffee, feeling anxiety, or noticing a color, does it feel like just neurons firing to me, or like something more, and why? 2. If I fully accepted that my thoughts and choices are nothing over and above brain activity, how would that change the way I treat blame, praise, or forgiveness in one real relationship in my life? 3. Can I recall one moment, a dream, a flow state, a feeling of awe, that seems hardest to square with strict materialism? And what specific brain-based explanation would I honestly find satisfying for that moment, if any? This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. This series continues with more chapters on OwlUp.co. Visit OwlUp.co to access the complete course and continue your learning journey. See you there!